Welcome, everyone. You've landed on our channel, the gateway to new adventures that promise to thrill and inspire. Whether you're here for the first time or back for more, get ready for an unforgettable journey into the heart of excitement. So buckle up and let's dive into the adventure together. Welcome to our channel, where every story is a new adventure waiting to unfold. Let's get started. Batgirl Vol 1. In the shadow-draped alleys of Gotham City, under a moonlit sky, the tale begins with a chilling prologue. Amidst the tranquility of her garden, where the scent of night blooms lingered in the air, the elderly Graham Carter found herself immersed in the simple joy of watering her flowers. However, this serene moment was abruptly shattered by the appearance of a mysterious figure cloaked in black. The enigmatic stranger, with an aura of menace, approached and posed a haunting question to Graham Carter. "Are you Mr. Graham Carter?" he inquired with a voice that sent shivers down the spine. Confusion and fear mingled in Graham Carter's response. "Yes. Who are you, and what brings you to my doorstep at this hour?" The man's chilling reply unearthed a long-buried tragedy. "Years ago, you were aboard a transport ship bound for Gotham, a vessel that met a watery grave. While you emerged unscathed, 27 souls were lost to the depths. Why, Mr. Graham Carter, did fate spare you alone?" Stunned by the accusation, Graham Carter demanded, "Who are you to dredge up the past?" With a swift and sinister move, the stranger revealed his weapon, a gun, pressing it to Graham Carter's lips. His declaration was as cold as the steel against Graham's skin. "I am the reflection of your past misdeeds," before pulling the trigger. But instead of bullets, a torrent of water gushed forth, filling Graham Carter's mouth, a cruel mimicry of the fate his crew had suffered. The old man's struggles were in vain, as he succumbed to a grim demise, mirroring the very tragedy he had once escaped. As the life ebbed from Graham Carter, the assailant turned to his list, a grim roll call of those marked for retribution. With a stroke of his pen, Graham Carter's name was crossed out, signaling the completion of another act of vengeance. Among the remaining names, one stood out ominously: Barbara Gordon. The night air grew colder as the specter of revenge loomed over Gotham, heralding a dark and thrilling saga that would ensnare Batgirl in a web of mystery and danger. Under the cloak of a moonless Gotham night, amidst the towering edifices that pierce the sky, Barbara Gordon stands poised on a rooftop, her silhouette melded with the darkness. Clad in the iconic Batgirl costume, her eyes are fixed on the peril below, a hostage crisis unfolding in the heart of the city. In this moment of solitude, doubts begin to cloud her resolve, but she shakes them off with a silent mantra. "Tonight, I am not Barbara Gordon. I am not the commissioner's daughter. Tonight, I am Batgirl, the guardian of the innocent." Within the walls of a seemingly ordinary home, a scene of terror unfolds as a family pleads for mercy from their captors, the notorious Brisby Group. Known for their brutal nighttime assaults on hundreds of families, their name alone evokes fear. As the desperate pleas of the hostages fill the air, the Brisby thugs, with a cruel sense of pride, flaunt their heinous deeds through clippings of their dark exploits. The family's fear is palpable, their hope dwindling by the second. Suddenly, like a bolt from the blue, Batgirl crashes through the window, her entrance as dramatic as it is unexpected. Landing with a powerful kick on one of the captors, she sends a clear message: hope has arrived. With the thrill of battle reignited after too long a hiatus, Batgirl leaps into action. Despite being outnumbered, her prowess and agility allow her to swiftly incapacitate two of her adversaries, her movements a blur of precision and grace. However, the tide momentarily turns when another assailant blindsides her, a grip of steel threatening to quell the burgeoning hope. But Batgirl, ever resilient, employs her mastery of combat to break free, her counterattack sending the attacker sprawling. The final standoff ensues as the last captor, in a desperate bid for leverage, aims his weapon at the trembling family. Unfazed, Batgirl's swift deployment of a bat dart disarms him, the weapon clattering to the ground. Enraged, the captor charges, a collision sending both through the window into the abyss beyond. Yet, Batgirl's reflexes prevail. She clings to the edge, her grip ironclad, even as she catches the falling foe. Refusing the captor's plea for a fatal release, Batgirl, with the aid of the grateful hostages, hauls both to safety. Her mission complete, she watches as the family, now safe from harm, showers her with gratitude. As Batgirl disappears into the night, her presence a fleeting shadow, Gotham whispers tales of the caped crusader who turned despair into hope, reminding all that in the darkest of nights, a beacon of justice watches over them. Haunted by the ghost of a traumatic encounter that forever altered the course of her life, Barbara Gordon could not shake the memory of the day the Joker, Gotham's embodiment of chaos and cruelty, struck at the very heart of her existence. Standing at her doorstep, he delivered a blow not just to her body, but to her spirit, leaving scars that ran deeper than the physical. The bullet that pierced her was a shattering moment of betrayal, etching a night of horror into her soul. For years, the specter of that night stalked her dreams, a relentless nightmare from which she would awaken, gasping for breath, a prisoner of her own fears. The aftermath was a life transformed. Barbara found herself bound to a wheelchair, her legs unresponsive, her once indomitable spirit seemingly quashed. Yet, the darkest nights give way to dawn, and for Barbara, the miracle of recovery unfolded. The day she stepped out of her room, walking, was a testament to her resilience, a beacon of hope for her father, Police Commissioner James Gordon. His joy, however, was tinged with concern as Barbara announced her decision to leave the nest, to forge a new path and reclaim her independence. Moving into her new abode, a fresh chapter awaited Barbara. Greeted by her new housemate, a vivacious bartender with a penchant for painting by day and mixing drinks by night, Barbara was introduced to a space that promised new beginnings. With no rules except for a playful warning to steer clear of strange boys, Barbara felt a spark of something she hadn't felt in years: connection. As they settled Barbara's belongings into her new sanctuary, her housemate extended an invitation for tea, a simple gesture that marked the end of Barbara's isolation. For the first time in 3 years, she opened herself to friendship, to the possibility of healing and moving beyond the shadows of her past. In this moment, Barbara Gordon, once a symbol of tragedy, began to weave a new narrative, one of hope, resilience, and rebirth. As Gotham's night veiled the city in its customary shroud of mystery, an urgent drama unfolded within the sterile walls of the local hospital. The air was tense with anticipation and fear as police officers stood guard around Theodore Rankin, a man who had narrowly escaped death at the hands of the enigmatic man in black, albeit at the cost of his hand. The officers were on high alert, prepared to thwart any attempts on Rankin's life, their determination as unwavering as the darkness outside. Meanwhile, life seemed to take a lighter turn for Barbara Gordon, who alongside her spirited new housemate, was in the midst of settling into her new home. But fate, as ever in Gotham, had other plans. The tranquility of the hospital was shattered when the man in black made a bold, chilling entrance, demanding the whereabouts of Theodore Rankin from the unsuspecting receptionist. His violent refusal to identify himself, coupled with his brutal assault on the hospital's security forces, sent ripples of panic throughout the building. The sound of gunfire echoed through the corridors, serving as a sinister herald of his intentions. Alerted by the cacophony of chaos, the officers guarding Rankin braced for confrontation, their calls for backup slicing through the tension. It was in this moment of escalating crisis that Barbara Gordon's own alarm beckoned her to action. With a sense of duty that eclipsed her personal world, she abandoned the sanctuary of her new beginning, racing to her van where her Batgirl persona lay in wait. Transforming with practiced ease into the vigilante Gotham both feared and revered, Barbara mounted her motorcycle, the engine's roar a promise of swift justice. She sliced through the night, a streak of determination aimed at the heart of danger. Upon arriving at the hospital, Batgirl was met with a scene of utter pandemonium. Civilians fled in terror, their faces etched with fear. Without hesitation, she surged forward on her motorcycle, weaving through the chaos with a singular focus. Her entrance was nothing short of heroic, a beacon of hope in the midst of despair. Batgirl had arrived, and with her, the promise of salvation for those caught in the grip of the Man in Black's dark vendetta. In the underbelly of Gotham's night, a dire scenario was unfolding in the cold, sterile confines of the city's hospital. A place meant for healing had become the stage for a deadly confrontation. Two seasoned police detectives, their instincts sharpened by the gritty realities of Gotham's streets, positioned themselves strategically behind the door of Theodore Rankin's room. They were the final line of defense against the encroaching shadow of death, personified by the enigmatic Man in Black. Yet, in an unexpected twist of fate, their plan was upended as the Man in Black, moving with lethal precision, dispatched a bullet through the door, striking down one detective in a heartbeat and critically wounding his partner. The wounded detective, his body betraying him but his spirit unyielded, lay on the ground as the Man in Black stepped over him with a chilling nonchalance. The air was thick with the imminence of doom as he approached Theodore Rankin, his grim declaration hanging in the air like a death sentence. But fate had yet to play its final hand. At that critical juncture, Batgirl, Gotham's indomitable spirit, was racing against the sands of time. Aboard her motorcycle, she was a whirlwind of determination, her journey upwards in the elevator, a race to thwart destiny itself. Crashing into the scene with the force of a tempest, Batgirl's entrance was a declaration of defiance. She stood, a resolute figure against the backdrop of despair, her voice cutting through the tension as she challenged the Man in Black. Yet, the sight of the gun trained on her stirred a whirlpool of memories, dragging her back to the darkest night of her soul. The past and present collided, leaving Batgirl ensnared in a maelstrom of doubt and fear. As the room teetered on the precipice of tragedy, Theodore Rankin's desperate pleas for salvation and the wounded detective's calls for justice echoed in vain. Batgirl, caught in the throes of her own battle, was powerless as the Man in Black executed his grim task, casting Rankin out of the window to his doom. In the aftermath, the Man in Black's gun still aimed at Batgirl. His mocking farewell was a sinister serenade to the night. But from the depths of despair, an unexpected defiance rose. The wounded detective, defiance personified, leveled an accusation that cut deeper than any blade. "You let that man kill Theodore Rankin, Batgirl. You're a killer." The weight of those words hung heavy in the air, a challenge not just to Batgirl's actions but to her very essence. In the silence that followed, Batgirl was confronted with the harsh reflection of her deepest fears and failures. The line between heroism and culpability blurred, leaving her to navigate the treacherous waters of guilt and redemption. This was not just a battle of flesh and blood, but a crucible of the soul, forcing Batgirl to confront her darkest fears and the specter of her past. As the night unfolded, the saga of Batgirl took on new depths, her journey a testament to the enduring struggle between light and shadow in the heart of Gotham. To be continued. Thanks for joining us on today's adventure. If you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe to not miss any of our upcoming journeys. Your support keeps the adventure going. See you in the next video.